Right now at 6, we are seeing new complaints of voter intimidation in North Carolina. These claims include things like someone throwing an election judge's cell phone and calling them a derogatory name to another following an early voting worker home.
The North Carolina State Board of Election receiving 20 reports of potential intimidation and 1 complaint of possible voter interference during this most recent election. And that does include a handful of reports around here. Our Nate Morabito discovered some of those cases could result in criminal charges.
Let's start by putting this in perspective. More than 3.7 million voters cast ballots at polling places across North Carolina, and very few actually resulted in any problems. But election officials tell us just one instance of intimidation is one too many. Quick and uneventful.
Well, pretty easy.
That's how most voters can describe their experience at the polls. But the 2022 election didn't come and go without some problems. Public records detail allegations of yelling and harassment, taking pictures of election helpers and their license plates, and in 2 cases, even tailing workers as they left. One all the way to their neighborhood.
None of this is okay. We want civility. We want people to be able to cast their ballot without fear of intimidation or interference.
The North Carolina State Board of Elections received 21 reports in all from counties across the state, 5 of those on Election Day alone, the rest scattered throughout early voting. The 21 cases described as a higher prevalence than in past elections, although the agency didn't previously track these kind of incidents. One incident out of Mecklenburg County, the election director later chalked up to a misunderstanding.
They were just milling around, talking to my early voting workers as they were bringing in all their equipment that night. Turns out I don't think it's intimidation, as they didn't know what was going on.
But they took pictures of license plates.
Yeah, well, it's a great idea.
Doesn't bother you?
No. The
state is in the midst of investigating a separate case of potential election worker intimidation that occurred at the Salisbury Civic Center voting site on Election Day, where someone reportedly called the chief judge a derogatory term, grabbed and threw her cell phone, and then took pictures of another election official's car, taunted, and threatened her. The state board says it takes all of these allegations very seriously and could escalate some of them if warranted by evidence.
Those could be raised to DOJ as civil rights violations, but we are not the prosecutors. We will turn that over to DOJ, or potentially it could be a situation that would be turned over to a district attorney.
The Department of Justice also assigned poll monitors to keep tabs on voting sites.
They asked how my voting experience was.
The attorneys visited dozens of locations on Election Day, documenting potential problems and ensuring voters' civil rights remained intact. We wanted to know how many problems those poll monitors flagged and how many complaints the Department of Justice received locally. But a spokesperson told us DOJ doesn't comment on the results of its monitoring efforts. Nate Morabito, WCNC Charlotte.
And now we do have this information to share. If you check out our website and go to our mobile app, we have this database where you can see these voter complaints reported by North Carolina County. It even gives a description of the problem. And so once again, you can find that in Nate's article right on the homepage on those 2 platforms we mentioned.